One of the things I want everybody to listen in on is that there's certain principles that these guys have gone through. Okay, these guys have gone through a certain sequence of learnings, a certain sequence of topical areas to focus in on first. So there's an order. I want everybody to pay attention here. There's an order in which we apply our ability to solve our problems and to get this business to get its profits to pay for our freedom. There's a starting point. Okay. Now, Sheldon, you said it right in the beginning. It's like the first thing I had to do was get control of my time. Right? Now, why is that? Why not focus in on a lot of people that come to Profit For Contractors like, okay, you need to help me with sales. Oh, you need to help me with this. And it's like, well, no, we got to get control of your time first. Why is that? Why is that, Sheldon?
Well, when I think of my time and how I used to just run around for everybody that called me, my phone would ring, I'd be out there. It started between my ears. It started with my attitude and my brain. And by going through the course, I decided, okay, I've got to make some changes, because if I don't make the changes, I'm just going to continue on this hamster wheel the rest of my life. And I'm going to grow old and be wore out and be broke.
Until right now, this very moment, contractors have always been on their own, not as tradespeople, but being alone and knowing how to take their business to the next level. They call us working class, they call us blue collar. They say that we don't have the smarts to become the business owner that we're meant to be. That is such bullshit. You have the ability. You're more than any of that. The question really is, where do you get the insights that you need specific to contracting to systemize your business so you can get your profits to pay for your freedom? I'm Andrew Houston. I'm going to show you how to make more profits, how to get more control, how to get more freedom in the simplest, quickest way possible without any of that bullshit. Welcome to the No Bullshit Podcast for Contractors. Listen up, level up, and if you learned something, like the video, subscribe to the channel, change your business, change your life.
All right, so we are going live here with the No Bullshit Podcast for Contractors. I might have missed a couple of things. I'm already remembering right now that I should have put in something in this title or what have you, but who cares? It's no bullshit. So I'm here with two amazing guys. I'm going to get these gentlemen to introduce themselves. And really what this podcast is about today is about the reality, about the journey that these gentlemen have been on, the progress that they've made, the struggles that they've gone through, the struggles that they're currently going through. And really, I think the biggest thing is how much progress that they've made in a short period of time. And let me just caveat this. If you're listening in and you're not a contractor, probably not a good podcast for you, okay? If you're listening in and you are a contractor and you're an owner of a contracting business, this might be the right place. It might not be. If you're not looking for change, and I mean that, if you're not serious about taking some different actions to get different results, better results, then don't bullshit yourself. You're wasting your time. If you are serious about making changes, if you're serious about really making your business better, making your life better, then you came to the right place. So, boys, brothers, how's it going?
It's going excellent.
Yeah? So
living the dream.
Living the dream. All right. So you guys, Andrew, you're seeing a little bit nervous coming on here. What makes you a little nervous, dude?
The spotlight, probably.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Being on the screen and stuff, but it's a good thing. It's a good thing for sure.
Well, I promise I won't make it hurt too much, okay? And you're not on the stand, right? You're not, tell you got to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, right? No bullshit. But we're going to have fun today. Does that sound like a plan, boys? All right.
Good sound.
So guys, introduce yourself. I want you to, I want you to just, what's your name, what's the name of your company, and just a brief description of what your company does. And then, if you can remember, a little bit about, because it's important, all right, a little bit about your family and things of that nature. So who wants to kick that off?
Well, I'll kick it off. I'm Sheldon Schramm. I'm the CEO of Schram Contracting. We're based in Edmonton, Alberta. and our company is a contractor for mostly commercial. We do building maintenance. We work for management companies, and I'm 54 years old. Been married for 30 years this August, and have 2 wonderful children and a grandchild.
Love it. And
That's
then
about me.
love it. Who's the man to your left or right, or the guy in the glasses? Sheldon. There you go. That's all right. That was my bad. You there still?
I'm still here.
Okay, perfect. So what happened was good old Wi-Fi. I've got good Wi-Fi, but the problem is that sometimes it just decides, hey, I'm just gonna switch this up, right? All right. So Sheldon, you're in the center now. So Andrew, you were saying, are you back, bro?
Yeah, I'm back. I don't know what happened there. Can you hear me
That
now?
was my bad. It was me.
Oh,
I'll take the hit.
okay.
Yeah, it was my
All right.
Wi-Fi that switched over. So tell us,
Okay.
you've been with the company 10 years now. It's a father, son. It's a family business, right?
Family business. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's good. Yeah, we work together good now. We didn't so much in the past, but we're in a good place now.
I love that. Yeah, we work together
Yeah.
now, and not so good in the past, but we're working together good now. Like, seriously, just that, right? How many champion CEOs, and when I say champion CEOs, I'm talking about how many contractors come to us and their family businesses, either husband, wife, father, son, uncles, whatever. And one of the things I hear consistently prior to them getting things, going in the right direction is there was a lot of headbutting. There's a lot of miscommunication. Let's just say a lot of issues as a whole. Andrew, can you relate to that?
Oh yeah, I ended up leaving the company for a couple years, just because it was just so frustrating.
Really?
We always fought all the time, and I blame myself partly too, because I was pretty hard headed before. But it just we weren't organized as a company, and it was just frustrating. I'm sure Sheldon can probably agree to that.
Sheldon?
Definitely. I could see the frustration on his side. The frustration was on my side, running the company, wearing all the hats, doing all the stuff all the time. Working from 5 a.m. till midnight every day. It was so much, and just organized chaos is the only way I can explain it. And I don't blame him for leaving. I'm glad he's back, because I couldn't do this without him.
It's interesting. It's interesting. I'm looking at your faces, and you guys look so happy. I mean, you do. Like
We're happy.
so it's a lot different now, isn't it, than where you were at?
Oh, it's a complete 180. Like it's incredible when I sit down and I look back, and I don't dwell on the past. I just keep looking forward. But when I look at where we came from and where we are now, we've got more time. We've got more time with our families. We've got less stress. And yeah, there is still stress to a certain point,
Of course.
but we manage it now better. And because we've implemented a lot of procedures and these things that we've been taught at Profit for Contractors, it's made our life a lot easier. And we're able to do the more important things, and that's spending time with family and looking after our health and those things, right?
It's Sheldon. It's amazing, Andrew, how many businesses ruin family relationships, right? I mean, we don't get in the business. I mean, Sheldon, you didn't get in the business to go, man, I want, I know this sounds stupid, but like, let's just put, the no bullshit to this, right? None of us get into business wanting these struggles, and especially we don't get in the business wanting to have a breakdown in our relationships, period, with our customers, with their team, but most importantly, with their family, right? Like that's That, and I know, Sheldon, that, and I'm sure a lot of listeners, a lot of people listening in, part of this, we do like a little 2-minute, 5-minute little prep, right, guys? Like just before this, okay? And do you remember what the number one thing was? What was one of the key things that the purpose of this podcast is? Either one of you?
Well, it's to help people, and that's now, and it's not that we know everything, because
Right.
we're continually making adjustments in our business and in our personal lives, but it's we look at other contractors, whether they're a roofer or they're electrician or whatever trade they are, and when we meet them within 5 minutes, we can tell that they need Profit for Contractors, because they're running around in all directions, just it's chaos. It's
Yeah,
absolute chaos.
totally. Yeah.
And by getting our time back, that was the number one thing at the start, is me sitting down, wiping the calendar clean, and just starting to block time. And sometimes we get into the old habits. Old habits are hard to break, and sometimes I'm bad for this, where I'll book a lot on my plate, and then I'm thinking, okay, Sheldon, you got to get out of that mindset. You got to get your time back. You've got to get things back on track, because the last thing you want is a train falling off the rails again, right?
Totally. And Andrew, you said even, and then let's get into the specifics, okay? Which you're starting to already, Sheldon. But Andrew, you said, repeat a little bit about what you said just in the first 5 minutes where you're talking about, I'm like, how's it going? And what did you say?
I can't remember now. What did I say? Living the dream?
Yes, that's right. You said living the dream.
Yeah.
And then you were like, man, things have changed so much.
Yeah, it's starting to come back now. Yeah, we went from just running around and doing the same thing year after year to being to the point where we can say, wow, we're going to be at this point in 5 years. We're going to be at this point in 10 years.
Yes.
We can see a path. It's not just just the end of the year, the end of the year, the end of the year. We're looking like 5-10 years ahead, and we can see, the everything. We can see the revenue we're going to generate. We can see where we want to grow to. We can see what our profits going to be. Like everything. It goes from just swinging hammers and tools to having actually a path in front of you, and you know what you're doing. That you're not just working for nothing. You're working for something.
Mm-hmm. So I think when I get on these podcasts, I mean, there's a certain amount of information I've got to leverage, but a lot of times I just let the magic happen, right? And the magic's already happening. So I'm going to pick a couple of topics as we go through this. One of them is going to be the importance of a pathway, right? The importance of knowing where you're going. Sheldon, you're talking about your weeks, knowing where you're going in your week, knowing where you're going in your day, knowing where you're going in 10 years. Knowing where you're going is one of the most important things, because if you don't know it, you might be headed for a fucking cliff, right?
Yeah,
Or you could be headed towards these two smiley faces on here, and I'm sure there's a whole team of other smiley faces and clients that are happy because these guys got a freaking pathway. They've got a pathway to profitability. They got a pathway to freedom. They got a pathway to making the right decisions at the right time. Being able to say, you guys, everybody listening in, yeah, there's awesome books out there, okay? What to say yes to, what to say no to. I could give you guys fucking 100 different books. But the reality is that these guys have done it and they've applied it. So I think one of the key things for today is we're going to talk about the principle of a pathway, right? And I'm going to give you guys some of I say this all the time. It's a no bullshit podcast. We're not here to fluff it, to fucking give some sort of bullshit of like, oh man, you got to do this, and people are like, what the hell does that mean? I'm going to give you, not even me, I'm going to get these guys to give you specific tactics, okay, in the next like 5 or 10 minutes, just on this thing called pathway, that I'm going to call no bullshit to you. That means that there's no excuses for you not to take this stuff and apply it. And you're like, Andrew, why? And I get this sometimes. It's like, Andrew, man, some of the stuff you give away on these podcasts is crazy. I'm like, yeah, man, I'll give it away all fucking day long because I'm truly out. These guys are out. They're giving their time today to help you, the listener. Okay. But again, if you're not willing to take some actions, then seriously, you got much better things to do with your time. Okay. So does that sound like a plan, boys? We're going to talk about the pathway.
Sounds
Andrew,
good.
Sheldon,
Sounds great.
good. All right. So one of the things I want everybody listening in on is that there's certain principles that these guys have gone through. Okay, these guys have gone through a certain sequence of learnings, a certain sequence of topical areas to focus in on first. So there's an order. I want everybody to pay attention here. There's an order in which we apply our, our ability to solve our problems and to get this business to get its profits to pay for our freedom. There's a starting point. Okay. Now, Sheldon, you said it right in the beginning. It's like the first thing I had to do was get control of my time. Right? Now, why is that? Why not focus in on a lot of people that come to Profit for Contractors like, okay, you need to help me with sales. Oh, you need to help me with this. And it's like, well, no, we got to get control of your time first. Why is that? Why is that, Sheldon?
Well, when I think of my time and how I used to just run around for everybody that called me, my phone would ring, I'd be out there. It started between my ears. It started with my attitude and my brain. And by going through the course, I decided, okay, I've got to make some changes, because if I don't make the changes, I'm just going to continue on this hamster wheel the rest of my life. And I'm going to grow old and be wore out and be broke. Right?
Yeah, totally, dude.
So by changing the attitude between my ears and saying, okay, let's get this in order. And then time is the first thing. Because if you're not to what you're going to do each day, it just adds stress, because you may be focused on one thing, but then a call comes in and then you're running another direction. I call it squirrel syndrome. Yeah. Right? You're running around like a squirrel. Some squirrels have tasks to do, and some are just running around. And that's how I found my life. I had that squirrel syndrome where I would be focused on one thing, and then all of a sudden a call would come in and I drop that. Oh, I can do that later on in the day and go and do something else. And it was just chaos. And I can't say it was organized chaos, because it wasn't. It was chaos.
Yeah, totally, man. Totally.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it totally does. Okay. And I'm gonna pull it all together, okay, in just a second. So Andrew, what was your experience as far as why is time one of the first things we got to focus in on versus all these other freaking areas of the business?
Well, by focusing on time, it's kind of in a way focusing on what's most important. So you rate your tasks of okay, what do I need to do? You only have so many hours in a day. So if you can organize your time and make your blows count, if that makes sense, you can be more effective, because you find yourself spending so much time on stuff that isn't important, that the stuff that is important, you don't have time to do. So if you just sit back and evaluate your schedule and what's important, what can wait, what somebody else can do, then you can start to grow. You can start to be more effective with your time. And that's something that we saw change right away.
Right, I love it. So everybody listening in, let's come back to this thing called the pathway, okay? Your cash flow and your profits, okay, are directly driven by your calendar, okay? I'm going to give you something else that's directly driven by your calendar. Your ability to make the right choices is driven by your calendar, okay? Your ability to say no to things is driven by your calendar. If you don't create the calendar of success, not just for business, but for your life, you're fucked. Because everybody else is going to run your calendar the way that they want your calendar to be ran. And that, my friend, there's a difference between what is priority for them and what is priority for you as a business owner. Okay? Boys, does that make sense? Does that make sense? We got a little bit of slow connection. We got a bit of a delay. You guys still there? Uh-oh, good old technology kicking in, challenging us. Okay, so let's see what's going on here.
Sorry, I missed that.
Yeah, it was
You
a
were
little
freezing
slow,
up
but
pretty good there.
Yeah, no
it makes
problem.
sense. And you mentioned saying no. That was the biggest thing with me is
Say no, right? Okay, so we have a little bit of a delay here. Okay, so we're gonna troubleshoot. So guys, I'm gonna switch my connection one more time. So if I lose you, just jump back in. So just stay there. Okay, so I just did
We're
a hard
definitely
wire.
live.
Yeah, it's live, man. Like, you know what? Isn't this? I mean, this has happened before, and I welcome it because I'm not here to we're not going to re-record this. We're not going to. Yes, there's some glitches. There's some shit that we got to deal with, but that's life, man. That's life, right? Okay, can you guys hear me okay now?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I
Much
think this
better.
is better, much better now. Okay, so I got it hardwired. So let's see how long this lasts. So what I was saying was that the long and the short of it is that if you don't create your own pathway, starting with your day, starting with your week, you're going to be ran by everybody else's pathway, everybody else's calendar, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and that's the way that you
100%.
guys were, right? So one of the exercises that I want everybody that listening in to do. Now, you guys tell me. I'm going to get you guys to pick which exercise. How's that?
Sure.
Okay. So do you guys remember rating your tasks with the 9 box? Which ones were high, which ones were low skill, value? Do you remember that? Doing a time audit. Okay. So one option is a time audit. It's one. Second option, and everybody's like, "What do you mean Andrew's giving them options?" Guys, this is killer shit. Like I want to let you know there's dozens of ways to get control of your time. And you've got to start with the ones that are going to be the most effective for you. So that's what we're doing right now, okay? For these guys, okay? Which ones were the most effective for them? Then there's default in your calendar. You guys remember that one? Okay, yeah. Okay, perfect. Okay. Then the third one, okay, is the gentle art of delegation. You guys remember that one?
Yep.
Yes, the gentle art.
Yep.
Okay, we're gonna put some Bruce Lee to it. Okay, which one of the three do you guys got to pick? You guys are a team right now, so you got to pick which one of the three. So is it the time audit? Is it default in your calendar? Okay, or is it the last one, which is the gentle art of delegation? Which one? Which one are you going to pick? 1, 2, or 3?
Delegation.
Delegation? Does that sound good? Sheldon, is that good?
What do you think?
Yeah,
good.
I'd say
Okay. Delegation. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
So, guys, when we're looking at delegating, everybody listening in, how the fuck?
I agree.
How do you know where to start? Right? How do you know where to start when you're delegating? Well, I'm going to just leap to the answer. You need to start with the things that are the lowest skill with the lowest value. Okay? So notice I'm actually pulling in one of the other strategies a bit here. Okay? So, but I'm not going to go into depth onto that. Okay? So all I want you to do.
Sorry, I didn't catch it. I think you're frozen again.
Am I? Oh man. Okay, so well, I'm hardwired here. Well, we're just gonna have to roll with it. Okay. So what I was saying was that we have to make sure that when we're delegating, we're picking the items that are the lowest skill and lowest value. Okay. So what I was saying was that when you go to delegate, it's critical that you pick the items on your list that are low skill, low value.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why is that? Can you explain? Do you remember why that is versus medium skill or higher value? Why do you pick low skill, low value?
Because they're not worth your time.
Yes.
Does that make sense? Is
Yes.
that the right answer?
Yes, that is. There's no
They're
one
not worth your
answer.
time.
Sheldon, what would you say? Sheldon seems to have a little more of a lag than what I have, or that what Andrew has. So let's do this. I'm just going to keep rolling here. Andrew, one of the other reasons that we want to pick low skill, low value is because it is the lowest risk item to delegate. So in other words, an example of something that is low skill, low value is cleaning the toilets, right? Going getting ink for the printer, right? Going getting coffee for the coffee machine. Right? These are things that, sweeping the floors, right, in the shop, right? Low skill, low value. There's things that we need to do or we want to have in our business or, as a function. But they're things that take up time. Okay? So what I want everybody listening in to do is I want you to pick just 3 items that are low skill, low value. So let's start on the low skill side. Low skill means items that, honestly, I like to use age. That a 10-year-old could do with minimal instructions. Right? You still hear me, Andrew?
It's still going.
Sheldon?
They got tech issues though.
Yeah. Sheldon.
It's freezing.
Yeah.
It's freezing.
Maybe we can get Sheldon. Could you jump in and jump back, jump out and jump in? I don't know if he's able to do that.
I'll text them.
Okay, awesome. Are you guys in the same office?
No.
Oh, you're not? Okay. All right. So, that's the first step, is skill set, okay? So the second thing is value, okay? So now one of the best ways of putting value to it is think about it from an hourly perspective, right? How much per hour, right, would you pay somebody to go and take out the garbage? Like minimum wage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Yeah. Totally. Okay, let me just see here to the right. There we go. Hopefully a reconnect helps.
There we go.
Okay, is that better?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. So what I was saying was we're talking about delegating, and just to summarize, is we pick things that are low skill, like taking out the garbage, like sweeping the floors, like cleaning the toilets, and then we also that's the first part. The second part is value, and for a value perspective, there's a couple different ways to look at it. One is, what would you pay somebody to clean the toilet? What would you pay somebody to take out the garbage? What would you pay somebody to go and fucking get the coffee? Make sense, Sheldon?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, exactly.
Now, it sounds like simple things, but ask yourself, everybody listening in, and Andrew and Sheldon, were there a bunch of things like that you were doing?
Oh, totally.
What were some of them?
Oh, just cleaning up, organizing the shop, organizing tools, fixing tools, all those things, and they take away a lot of time from more important things. So by rating the tasks that we have and really focusing on that, we're able to make more efficient use of our time.
You got it, dude. You got it. So here's the reality. Put it into perspective. It is not just the cleaning of the toilet. Okay? Andrew, you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, yeah.
Okay. So what do I mean? Do you know what I mean by that, Andrew? Why is it not just the actual task itself that takes up the time?
Because it takes away time from other things?
Yes, but there's also...
I don't know if that's the route you're going on.
No, dude, this is the no bullshit. I mean, seriously, I don't know what your answer is going to be.
Yeah.
You're right, it does. From higher value things, right? Like, what is a high value task that back before you started with us that you weren't doing enough of, that was being robbed from you with these other tasks?
Well, one of them is spending time on ourselves, taking time for our families and stuff. That to me is the most high value out of anything, is being with your
Yes.
family. And when you're not with your family, because you're spending so much time running around for nothing.
Exactly, guys. Now, you might be asking, what do I do with this stuff? Well, that's why it's called the gentle art of delegation, right? Yes, you do have to find other people to do it if you want to keep having those things get done, okay? So you've got understand though that you start with one thing, right, Andrew? You don't go and delegate 5 things at the same time, do you?
No. Start small, baby steps.
Yes. What were some things that you started with?
I think I know we talked with Liam on a Facebook Live, but one of the biggest things we started with was a CRM. We started using Jobber, and that took a bunch of scheduling off of our like contacting people and organizing all that kind of stuff. It took it saved us so much time um, just using technology. So I know that's kind of a weird delegation, but it is a delegation because it it just saved us time, right? Anything you can do to save time.
Totally, dude. Totally. Okay, and so this leads me to the next one. Okay, and Sheldon, are you back? You still
Yeah.
good? Okay, cool. So let's talk about the area that you put some of your time in, which was understanding your numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
That's a slap in the face when you see your numbers.
I remember the aha moment.
Yeah, yeah.
Aha moment is I turned to Andrew and I said, okay, we need to just forget about the past and focus on now and focus on the future. Because if we focused on the past, it would just bring us down. Because, yeah, we made money. But when we looked at how inefficient we were and how much money we could have made to free up that time for our family and other important things, it was mind-boggling.
Right.
So I said, let's just forget about that. Let's start from right now and let's move forward. And getting to know our numbers was definitely a huge part in everything. Everything combined as a whole was important. The mindset, the delegation, all getting our time back, everything. But knowing our numbers, the numbers don't lie.
Right.
And so by getting our numbers in order and knowing what they are and knowing how to quote profitably for jobs made a huge difference and continues to make a huge difference.
And when you look at it from the perspective of habitualness, of looking at your numbers and looking at your time and where you spend your time, like everybody listening in, that is one of the most critical places to be putting your time. Andrew talked about one of the most valuable things to do is spend time with your family. Well, how much time have you got defaulted in your freaking calendar, right? As far as time with your family, how much time do you have defaulted in your calendar to work on your financials? Yeah, but I'm too busy. I'm too busy. Guys, the clock doesn't stop, right?
No.
No, and that's the thing. We all have 24 hours in a day.
Yep.
We all have the same amount of time. It's how we use that time.
Huge.
That's the important thing.
Huge. So, when we look at this, I want to give some insights, a little bit of tactics. So, Sheldon or Andrew, what would you say is the top 3 numbers that these contractors listening in need to know? And by the way, I'm already going to tell you before we go any further that whatever it is that they say, okay, guys, that you need to ask yourself, am I looking at those numbers? Because if you're not looking at those numbers, you are driving your vehicle freaking blind. So, boys, what would they be? Give us 3. There's a lot more.
I think a lot of guys know their cost of goods. That's something everybody knows because you know what you're paying out. But I think something we really forgot about was our break-even percentage. That was huge because are you accounting for your fuel? Are you accounting for your comp? Are you accounting for your insurance? Are you accounting for your rent? Are you accounting for wear and tear on all these things? And I think that was the biggest bleeder in our company, because we weren't charging for all these kinds of things. And that's why it was like, wow, we're not, where's the money going? Well, it's all going out the back end for just the cost of the business. And then I'd say, of course, the most important number is your profit margin, how much money you're going to make as a business. Because we never really thought about that. We were kind of like, well, as long as we're making a good wage and we're paying ourselves. But then when you think, oh yeah, I guess the business has to make money, and I have to be able to pay somebody to replace me if I want to grow and all those things. Well, you got to be making a profit. So but the break even percentage, I think that was a huge one for us.
I love it. So guys, we're not going to, if you want to get more information on figuring out your break even, there's tons of insights in the Contractor Tips group. If you're not part of that group, it's a free group. It's a different group than what these guys are in. These guys are in the Champion CEO group. You can tell that, I'm not bashing either one. I'm just saying that the Contractor Tips group is for people that just want to get a taste, want to get a feel, want to improve some things. The Champion CEO group is really people that are serious about becoming a champion CEO of their business and of their life. That means ready to make some serious fucking changes, okay? So with that being said, I'm sure there's a link down below or something like that. So guys, for the remainder of the time, here's a couple of things that I wanted to just touch on. Andrew, you mentioned something, and I'm trying to catch this more often in these podcasts. You said, I'm trying to remember it, you said something along the lines of like, we used to think that if we were just making a good margin, that was good enough. Can you elaborate on that thinking? Because that thinking is what 90% of contractors think. Oh, if I just put, I'm just going to put 40 on this. That's got to be enough. Like, tell us a little bit more about that, Andrew. Honestly, where your things were at and where your headspace was at with that.
Yeah, like what we charged before Profit for Contractors, I'm going to be honest, is a guess. We knew the time it would take. We knew what our material costs. But as for what we were charging for labor, it was a guess. I remember talking, and we were talking, well, what should we charge per hour? Well, how about 70? Well, let's go 65. Well, do you think that's enough? Well, let's go to 60.
And with COVID, it's even more important because now a 2x4 isn't $3 and change in Alberta. It's $10 and change. And so if you don't know your numbers, you're losing money. That money has to come from somewhere. And where's it coming from? It's coming out of your profit.
Right. So, guys, I want everybody to listen in. There's a couple of key things here that I want people to get. One is you need to have a mindset shift. Now, a mindset shift it can come in a lot of different ways, but I'm going to sort of break it down into two simple ways. One way is that your awareness, either through education, you'd call it new knowledge, you could call it, show and tell. Somebody shows you something. In other words, something is given to you like a formula. There's many different ways, but let's say in this case, a formula. You put the numbers in. There's no emotion to that formula in it by itself. It's just a formula. And that number makes you look at it and go, it forces you to go, oh fuck. Oh shit. That emotion, which sucks, it does. It sucks. But as humans, we're supposed to go through that it sucks moment. Or, if you want to get in shape, it's got to hurt. Like, really, like if you want to get really in shape and get stronger, I'm trying to do that recently, I'm sore, right? So it hurts, right? So that the brain goes emotionally, fuck, don't do that again. Or, hey, listen, but the muscles are getting bigger, right? So one of the big paradigm shifts that Andrew, and by the way, Sheldon, isn't it awesome hearing Andrew talk like that?
Yeah.
Dude! As your son? Like your son is like, he's on his game?
Yeah.
Love it. Okay,
oh, yeah, he's sharp.
He is sharp. Well, here's the funny thing. Intelligence and smart, to me, never forget my mother-in-law and I, she went through for a psychology major and all this stuff and master's degree. Her and I would battle, like seriously, because there was a lot of people that she would be like, that guy's got a high IQ and this guy's got a high IQ and this blah 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 high IQ, and I'm like, yeah, that doesn't make him smart.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean, Andrew? Yes, that does make them smart. No, that doesn't make them smart. That makes them have that all that's doing is gauging the size of the engine. It's a V8, it's a 5-liter, 420 horsepower. Yeah, but if the fucking thing doesn't get used, if it's get filled with crap, it's a piece of crap. That's what it is. So,
Yeah.
Andrew, there's a prime example, right? Your son is Andrew. You're a smart cat. You got probably both of you guys probably got pretty good IQ. But you could have somebody with basic IQ. If they use the right knowledge, they can become fucking crazy smart, almost genius, right? So you had the shift, Andrew. So for you, you had to see the formula. True?
Oh, yeah. And it changes your mind, because I used to always get frustrated. We'd lose a job, right? Because we were more than the other guy. And I get so mad. Oh, well, if we would have just charged a little bit less, we would have got that job. But now you plug your numbers into the formula, it spits out your cost to the cent. That's the cost. If you lose the job to somebody cheaper, well, at least I didn't lose money on the job. Like your mindset completely changes around. Competition doesn't matter. Nothing matters but your business.
And you know what? Honestly, speaking candidly, I'd sit and do estimates, and this is before we had the formula. I do estimates. I figure out my costs and figure out what I want to make for profit, and on and on and on. And I come to the bottom, and I talk myself out of it. If it was like, let's say it was 22 grand for just a number, and I look at it, oh, they're never going to pay that. I'll do it for 18. So we can get the job. Biggest hindrance. While I was, as the tires of the company were pumping up, I was slashing the sidewall out of the tire with my thinking, with my attitude. And then when COVID hit, I had to really hunker down, and I had to really focus on, you know what? We need to put the proper things in place to make it through COVID. And I'll be honest with you, we slowed down a little bit at the start of COVID because everybody was scared, and then we just started going up.
So when I'm looking at this and you say going up, let's give the audience a bit of a gauge. Okay? So let's say prior to Profit for Contractors. No bullshit. Don't have to be precise, but just give them a gauge. Where would your net profit, say in dollars, roughly be? And where would your, like, say 12 months worth, and compare to, say, 12 months worth with Profit for Contractors?
Andrew, you want to answer that?
Before, I'm going to be honest, if we made a net profit, that was a good year.
Yep.
We always paid ourselves, but if we made a net profit on the business, it was rare. Whereas now, I mean, for example, we did I'll just go by one job just because it's easier in my mind. It was a $35,000 job. We made 11 grand net in 3 weeks.
And in the past, you would have been lucky to make it.
We would have lost. We would have lost on the job. I know we would.
Yeah.
Because we didn't know our numbers.
Yep. So is it possible? Like, you got people listening and they're like, man, but I'm not a math guy. I'm not, I've done it this way for so long. I know we're sort of scraping by, what have you. Like, is this really difficult to learn? What would you say to somebody?
I'd say, go ahead, Andrew.
It's not difficult. It takes work. If you don't want to learn your numbers, may as well close down your business.
Oh, man.
Because it's going to close down for you. That's what's going to, because you know what, you can be a very good tradesman, but you can be a horrible business owner. And that's where we were. We did great work. We had good reputation. Customers loved us. We weren't making any money because we didn't know our numbers. But now you do the math, you learn your numbers. Customers love us. We do great work, but now we're making money. So now we can grow. And now we're happier. We're not stressed out. We're not yeah, there's stress, but not like it used to be.
Yep.
Not at all.
And I'm not a math guy. I never have been. I call myself street smart, not book smart, right? And so I can explain to customers now when they look at an invoice and they want an explanation on why it was this price, I can tell them exactly why. And I'm honest, and I have a really good working relationship with my customers. And that's all part of the whole package, right? It's about setting yourself apart from the whole group that's rolling along in the contracting world. I'm very transparent with customers. I communicate well with customers, and it's all things that I've worked on. And some people may think, you know what, that's overwhelming, Sheldon. You know, you're full of it. I can't do all that because I'm too busy. No, you can. If you just make baby steps and change and adjust and keep adjusting. And if you start to fall back into those patterns, because sometimes we take a couple steps back, sometimes things happen in our life that, knock us down a little bit, but we've got to just refocus and continue to move forward with that goal. If we know what we want in the, 5 years, 10 years out, as you call it, the 3,000 foot view.
That's
right?
it, man. That's
right?
it. Good memory.
You know what you want, you can get there because you have control. Mm-hmm. If you think you don't have control, then like Andrew says, close your business and go work for somebody else. Yeah. Because you'll be happier.
It's true. That's a tough pill to swallow. But right now, today, if you're listening in and you're a contractor and you own your contracting business, whether it's through Profit for Contractors or some other form, you've got to do things fucking differently. And don't think, number one, that you're supposed to naturally know this stuff. That's a bunch of crap too, okay? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of guys with master's degrees in business, many, that I have sat down with, and I'm looking at them going, dude, you read all the books, you passed the test, but being able to apply it and understand this in the real world, two different things as well, okay? And I think that's one of the things that, having a community like you guys, right? It's not just me, it's not just all the coaches. We got a big team of people, right? Like, going back not that long ago, it was the me show, right? The Coach Andrew show, right? But I had to scale this company, just like we're teaching you guys to scale the company. I mean, what kind of congruency would I have if I couldn't walk away from my coaching business, this business, just like I did with my automation business? And how is that possible? It's the same fucking principles. Now, the templates are different. The tools are different. The lists of material lists and change orders and SOPs, which is a lot of the heavy lifting, that's different. And that brings me to something before we start wrapping this baby up is, what do you, when you look at Profit for Contractors, what's the difference between Profit for Contractors and I don't know if you guys checked out other coaching programs or you did other trainings. What would you say is one of the differences here at Profit for Contractors, in your opinion?
Well, number one, I looked at a few different ones, and I came back to Profit for Contractors. Number one, because they're Canadian. That's one reason. Yeah, I love to support local business, right?
Right.
And Canadian business. So that was one reason. But another reason is there's no fluff. This is how it is. You expose the skeleton of the business, whether good or bad.
Yep.
Right. And you give us the tools in which to make those changes in our business for our benefit. Mm-hmm. And we're able to help others. And that mentality of helping others has really, really helped us in our business. Mm-hmm. And I'm not trying to blow our own horn or anything, but we have plumbing and electrical companies that want to work with us, that phone us now, where we never had that before. They phone us and they see there's something different here. And I said, number one thing is I hired a business coach.
Mm-hmm.
And when they ask, of course, I tell them who.
Yeah.
Right?
You do.
And that team, right? Because we want to build an image for our company. We want to build a brand. And we're able to do that with Profit for Contractors. And we're able to do that in a slow and calculated way. We're not growing like this and then this, right?
Yes. Slow and calculated way. Slowing down the speed up, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what we've done. We've slowed down and it's all coming together. And you can sit here and say, I don't even know how that happened, but it's because it came as a complete package.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Andrew, what would you have to say to that? I think one of you said that there's no problem that can't be solved or something from Profit for Contractors, or I don't know.
I think for me, the biggest thing for me, I'll be honest, is what you said at the start of this podcast when I listened to one of the first ones. Sheldon would send me something, he's like a link. He's like, you got to listen to this podcast. And right at the start, you say, you know what, if this is for contractors, if you're not a contractor, or if you're a contractor and you don't want to make changes, may as well just get off this podcast because you're wasting your time. And when I heard you say that, I was like, okay, like the honesty and the transparency. It's not just a bunch of fluff. It's direct. This is how it is. If you want to make the changes, we're here to help you. If you don't want to make the changes, keep stepping.
Guys,
you're just wasting your time.
Straight up, right?
Yeah.
I don't have to do this podcast. What do I mean? No. I'm just saying, like, I was good long time ago. Okay, like as far as financially stuff like that, I'm good. I've made an impact. Now I haven't made the impact that I want. 100,000. That's what I'm after. I'm after 100,000 before these feet hit the ground and they're pointing up. Okay, but here's the thing: I don't have the fucking time for bullshit. You don't have time for bullshit. Life is too short. You know, you're in your 50s, Sheldon. I'm in my 50s. As the clock ticks on, what are you going to do, listener? Like, if you're listening in and you're 30, 35, 40, 50, what are you going to do? Are you just going to do it the way that you've been doing it? Are you going to try and figure it out the hard way? And I'm serious. I would have, you know what? I catch myself in with what I'm about to say. I was about to say, you know, I would have died to have had what I have now, but for me when I was a tradesperson. But you know what the reality is? Then this never would have happened. I had to go through that hell. I had to figure that out and go, I got it! Right? When I had that story is still the same story because it's true, right? When I was like, I've got to automate I got to automate my business. Like I automate freaking, automation lines. And then I went with the stickies. No, and then it was years and years and years and years and years of getting it, fixing each one of these sticky notes. But guys, anybody listening in, you can do it if you're willing to change.
Yeah, and you realize how fast time goes. I remember when Andrew was born, and now I've got a little grandson. So from 30 to 50, and you can agree with this, I'm sure, Coach, is you blink and it's gone.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so you have to make the most of your time right now, and don't think that don't be too proud to say, you know what, I know it all. You have to show humility and say, you know what, maybe I need some help with this. Maybe I need some help with that. It's just like your tooth. If your tooth is bothering you and it's abscessed, you can grab a bottle of whiskey and a pair of pliers and get your buddy to pull it out for you, right? But no, you go to the dentist because the dentist knows the tools to use and how to do it properly and try not to be too painful on you, right? And get your tooth extracted.
Yep.
So it's the same with business. Hire the right people for the right positions, and it'll make your company more efficient so that you can spend time on the more important things, the more important tasks that you need to in your business.
Mm-hmm. I love it. So sort of wrapping this up in the next 5 minutes, I'm going to go back because I know it was a little bit choppy. I'm going to be quick, okay? But we're going to look at focus and just sort of go through what we covered off today, okay? Because there's some hiccups in technology and stuff like that going on. So one of the key things we talked about was the pathway, right? And one of the importance of a pathway is that you got to know where you're going. Because if you don't know where you're going, it sounds so logical. But guys, everybody listening in, if you didn't know how to get to your shop, you'd be fucked, right? A simple thing like that, right? If you didn't know how to get to your suppliers, you'd be fucked. Well, if you don't know where you're going in your business, you're fucked, okay? So where do you start, okay? Now, people have different ways of looking at it, okay? It depends on how your brain works. So I'm not going to say there's I'm not going to say there's just one way. There's a couple different ways, okay? Some people think like dreamers. And so if you're listening and you're a dreamer, you think like, man, in 5 years, in 10 years, I'm going to take over the world and, whatever. Awesome. But you probably struggle a lot with like, what do I got to do today? Okay? Which is the squirrel syndrome, shiny object syndrome, okay? And so if that is you, I'm going to deal with a couple of core profiles here. If that is you, you're a dreamer, okay? The very first thing you've got to do, okay, is you've got to lay out it's great to lay out your dreams, do a dream chart. Anyways, that's a whole nother thing. But I mean, just think about, hey, I want to travel. I want to do this with my kids. I want to do whatever. But start with your day, right? So tomorrow morning is a good time. Today's already launched, okay? The fucking train has left the station. Tomorrow morning, take 30 minutes before your day starts. And most trades get up early. And just say to yourself, what do I want? What kind of results do I want with my day? I want to get these key things done today. Now, what's going to happen is you might get a little bit overwhelmed because you're like, I don't have enough time today to get all the shit done that I got to get done. It's supposed to be that way. It's supposed to be like that. Okay? That's the world telling you have to prioritize. So then you can go to the next day and eventually plan out your week. Okay? So that's my recommendation. But make sure you put a dollar figure to the shit that you're doing. So when you're defaulting it, here's a little tip for you guys, okay? And then stick around, right? Give you guys a little bit of extra love. Is go ahead and here's a little test. Take a piece of paper. If you're not tech savvy or whatever, take a fucking piece of paper. And this is going to be one of the things I want you guys to do as well. So if it's electronic, great. If it's a whiteboard, great. Piece of paper, great. What did I just do? I made it so there's no fucking excuses. Okay? All right. Okay. If you can draw a stick man or a stick woman, this is going to work. So here we go. I want you to draw out whatever that week looks like, Monday to Friday. Then I want you to start plotting the things that you want to do. Okay? And then start and plot in there all the things that you have to do. Oh, I got to clean the truck. I got to do this. I got to do that. Then I want you to put a dollar figure inside that box. Interesting. Here's the reality. Whatever those dollar figures are, so if they're all minimum wage numbers, that's what you're going to earn or less as far as the check you're going to receive at the end of the fucking week. If you're, yeah, interesting, eh? Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. If the dollars at the add up, and you go, holy fuck, I made a ton of money, you're on the right track. If the dollars don't add up to what you want, that meets your dreams of what the fuck, I want to go get a new car, I want to pay off the house, I want to take the kids on a trip, then Houston, that's my last name, we got a problem. Well, in your case, you've got the problem. So you need to start making some adjustments and getting rid of those things that are not worthy of your time. Now, you might be asking, what about my team? That's going to be another podcast. Why? Because if you can't, back to what Sheldon said, the first thing he focused in on was his time. He didn't say everybody in his life's time. He said his time. You've got to get your time right. As a champion CEO, your team is looking at you. They're watching you. They're listening. They're seeing what you're doing. Right? And if you're not leading through example, then you're in trouble. Okay? Because guess what? They follow you. If you do a bunch of bullshit stuff, the minute you turn your back, they're going to do a bunch of bullshit stuff. Because you taught them. You're the teacher. Sheldon, Andrew, can you relate to any of that?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I don't wash my truck, but there's a lot of other things that I shouldn't be doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And continue. Right?
And continue. So here's the question. Now, little tiny micro coaching. Let's see how these boys do. This is going out to these two guys.
Uh-oh.
How often should you revisit your defaulted calendar? Once a year? Once a quarter? Once a month? Once a week? How often?
I would say once a week or every day if you have to.
That was the trick.
Yeah.
That was the trick answer. That was the trick answer. I never actually gave him the full answer. I gave him part of the answer. So Sheldon, freaking high five. Andrew, do you agree?
100%. 100%.
Because let's be clear about this thing called a pathway. It fucking changes. Life changes. Situations change. All of a sudden, at one point Andrew's like, yeah, I'm going to have a baby. Life changes. So you have to adjust. And that's okay. Don't think it has to be carved in stone. But the mindset of how you approach it on a weekly and daily basis is the most critical thing, okay, as far as your time. So that's sort of a big summary on the pathway. On your numbers, which is directly related to time, okay? Everybody listening in, Andrew, you said break even margin. I said, what are like the top three? You said break even. What would be the other two, guys? Oh, you said you said break even. You also said your profit, right? Your profit target. Okay, so you actually got two.
And cost of goods.
Right, cost of goods. Right, exactly. Right. So you know what your overhead expenses are and things of that nature. And if you're listening, you're like, what the hell is this cost of goods or these COGS? What's that mean? Doesn't mean you're stupid. And anybody tells you that you're stupid because you don't know that stuff, tell them to fucking bugger off or just ignore them because they're not even worthy of your time. It's okay not to know this stuff. But what is not okay on this podcast is that you keep your brain not knowing.
Yeah. I didn't know these things. Honestly, cost of goods. I wasn't a businessman then. I was a contractor, right? I knew the latest tool to buy and how to use it, but I didn't know the tools on the business side of things, on the financial side of things. So I had to change, again, back to attitude. I had to change my attitude and say, you know what, Sheldon? You're not stupid. You just need to learn this. You need to take baby steps and learn it. And if you don't understand it, you need to get somebody to explain. I remember one podcast that you put, Andrew, talking about your wife and how she, being a chartered accountant, and how she.
Well, just a second, just a little thing, Sheldon. She went and listened to it.
Uh-oh.
Well,
no, honestly, it was fine. But she was like, it was. I want you to tell about the podcast, but I'm just gonna say how I found out. She made me figure it out. So she was dropping little hints, right? Andrew, do you remember? Yeah. What was that like, Andrew? And I was like, well, it was like this and this. Yeah, that's consistent. What? And she go off, come back. Remember when this and this happened? Yeah. So what was that like? Oh, I was like this and this and this. Yeah, I remember. And that was like, and I felt like this and this and this. She looks, she goes, that's consistent. Okay, what? Consistent? What? Consistent with what? And eventually I'm like, the podcast. I'm like, she was upstairs. I'm like, Jen! She's like, yes? Did you listen to the podcast? She's like, yes, I did. I'm like, oh, man. So what were you saying as far as my wife?
And so she again, it's like the dentist, right? She knows how to figure those numbers out. Yeah. And if we don't know how to do it, we need to find somebody that can help us.
Totally.
And it's our attitude and it's our mind thing. It's like technology. I'm 54 years old, and technology, honestly, I said when cell phones first came out, I said I'd be the last person on the planet to own a cell phone.
Andrew, do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
And here I am. I'm on Zoom. I'm on this podcast. I'm sending emails. I'm using the CRM technology-wise from my phone, from my tablet, from my computer. I'm using all those things. Am I completely efficient at it? No. But I'm learning as time goes on. I'm learning how it can help me save time using Google Calendar or whatever calendar ones use, right? It's about changing your attitude.
Yeah.
Do you want the best for your business? You know, your profit's paying for your freedom, right?
Love it, man. I love that.
And I think too, a lot of contractors, like thinking about numbers, like you're talking about those different terms. And if you don't know them, you can learn them. But a lot of contractors focus on their year sales. They're so focused on, oh, I sold $1 million this year. I sold 500,000 this year. I sold $3 million this year. Well, what did you profit? Okay, guys, Sears was like $1 billion company and they went bankrupt. Why? They weren't making a profit. So you can sell $10 million a year and you could be spending $15 million a year. You're not making a profit. So you have to know your numbers, not just your sales, but your numbers.
What a great example, by the way. Because Sears was around, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they're in the 80 year. They've been around for a long time. Andrew, I don't know if you know what the number is, but it's like way up there.
No.
Right?
Yeah, I don't know.
But it's way up there. Like they're around 50, 60, 70 years. So everybody listening in, if you're listening in, you're like, yeah, I've been doing this for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. Look, they were doing it for fucking 2, 3x, whatever your number is. I guarantee you Sears was doing it for 2, 3x. Okay? And it's $1 billion company. Like, guys, why? It's so like, there's no, what is the right word? There's no mercy. Right? There's no like get out of jail free card here. If you don't know your numbers, then you're going to be in trouble.
Hey, Rockstar, I hope that you enjoyed that one. I mean, if you did like this podcast, leave a review, leave a comment. This will help us a lot to keep you bringing the gold, allowing you to delegate, dominate, and deliver so you can take your contracting business to the next level. Now, make sure you subscribe, get the latest teachings and insights, and we will see you back here for another No Bullshit podcast. No, seriously, no bullshit.